In a quiet village on the outskirts of London, an old mansion stood, abandoned for years. Its windows were cracked and its walls were covered in vines. One stormy evening, the local police received an emergency call. A woman had been found dead inside the mansion with no signs of forced entry. Detective John Carter, known for his keen observations, was assigned to the case. Upon arriving, he noticed strange details: a broken mirror, a pool of blood near the front door, and the faint scent of perfume in the air. The investigation revealed that the woman, a wealthy widow, had been living in the house alone for years. But who could have killed her and why? The woman's name was Eleanor Smith, a reclusive woman who had once been a well-known socialite. Despite her wealth, she kept to herself, rarely interacting with others. Neighbors had often seen her sitting by the window, staring into the distance. Some whispered that she had a dark past, while others believed she had been haunted by the death of her husband years before. As Detective Carter dug deeper, he learned that Eleanor's husband, Arthur Smith, had died under mysterious circumstances. Some believed it was a natural death, but others suspected foul play. Was the death of Arthur Smith connected to Eleanor's murder, or was it the work of a new, unknown killer? The detective would have to uncover the truth, but the more he investigated, the more the mansion seemed to reveal its own dark secrets. The investigation took an unexpected turn when a hidden compartment in the wall was discovered, revealing a letter from someone named L. The letter was cryptic, mentioning an affair, a betrayal, and a promise of revenge. Could L be the murderer, or was this a red herring? As the mystery unraveled, the detective began to question whether the mansion itself was cursed, holding the key to both Eleanor and Arthur's tragic fates. The more Detective Carter learned, the more complex the case became. The walls of the old mansion seemed to whisper secrets of the past, and every clue led to more questions. With no clear suspects and no definitive motive, the detective was left with one haunting question: who was L, and what was their connection to Eleanor's murder? Was it a simple crime of passion, or was there something more sinister at play? The detective was determined to find out, but as he got closer to the truth, the dangers of the mansion seemed to grow, and he soon realized that his own life might be at risk. Would he solve the case, or would the mansion's dark past claim another victim? After discovering the mysterious letter from someone named L, Detective John Carter continued his search through the house. The letter cryptically referenced hidden affairs, betrayal, and a promise of revenge, but Carter couldn't dismiss these clues easily. It seemed like the discovery of this letter was leading him into a new mystery. He returned to the very room where Eleanor Smith's body had been found. Everything in that room appeared oddly arranged. How could a killer have neatly placed everything after committing the murder? Carter wondered if this was a signal from the killer. It seemed that the murder was just part of a larger, more intricate plan. Meanwhile, he received a tip from a local witness's son, William Harper, who claimed to have seen someone near the house the night before the murder. The person had their face covered, but what stood out were the black gloves they wore, William said. Carter decided to speak with William and gather more details. In the meantime, new evidence from the investigation showed that the black gloves belonged to one of the most important local figures. After questioning William, he was led to a man named Richard Morgan, a successful businessman and one of Eleanor's oldest friends, who had been at her house the night of the murder. Detective Carter, with the help of his team, went to confront Richard Morgan. When questioned about the black gloves, he replied, "I never killed anyone, the gloves, I used them for a business meeting." But Carter had doubts about Morgan's story. As he continued investigating Morgan and his connections to the victim, Carter was suddenly notified that new evidence had been found. When Carter returned home to further examine the letters and documents, he discovered that he himself was in danger. A similar letter to the one Eleanor had received was found in his own mailbox. It was a threatening letter, demanding that Carter not uncover the truth. At this point, Detective Carter realized this was no ordinary case. What he had initially believed to be a simple murder investigation had transformed into a complex conspiracy. But what he didn't yet realize was that the person he thought was the killer was merely a small piece in this grand scheme. One rainy and dark night, when Carter returned home to dig deeper into the mystery of L, the doorbell rang. He opened the door, and standing before him was someone he never expected to see. "Eleanor Smith is alive." Eleanor stepped inside, her face pale, but there was no sign of fear in her eyes. "You've been chasing shadows all this time, John," she said quietly. It turned out that Eleanor had faked her own death to escape an abusive relationship with her husband, Arthur Smith. The letter she had sent to the police was part of her plan to manipulate everyone, including her friends, into believing she was dead. Richard Morgan, her old friend, had been helping her for years, keeping her hidden from everyone who knew her. Eleanor confessed that Arthur's death had not been an accident, but she had made it look like one, orchestrating a perfect crime. The so-called murder of Eleanor was nothing more than a well-planned ruse. With the truth now out in the open, Detective Carter found himself faced with a shocking reality. He had been chasing the wrong person all along. Eleanor, though alive, would face legal consequences for her role in the web of lies she had woven. But for Carter, the case was finally closed, even though he couldn't shake the feeling that he had been played, outsmarted by the very woman he had been searching for. The end.